Please welcome to the stage, Mike Zakarian.
Let's go. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. The NBA bit is officially back. I believe this is year 2, technically, of the NBA bit, but like year 4 or 5 of us doing this. I don't know. I can't keep track, but we're officially back for a new season, baby. And some of you might have noticed in the announcement of the show returning, I know, or if you've been watching some of the other content we've been putting out there, NBA bit's going to be a little bit different this season. So let's get that out of the way up top. We're going to be doing the show Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 a.m. So we're going to go from every day. We were actually doing it like 4 times a week. We are now going to do it 3 times a week. And I think you'll see in the production quality as to why we have chosen to do that. Yes, as Boston Bay said, it's a little bit different this season, but we're still going to be doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we've got some other stuff planned that we'll officially announce. I know you've probably seen it in the Discord a little bit later today about some of the other content that we've got going on. We've got the stuff going on the Fantasy Hoops channel where we'll be talking about Underdog and SORARE season long, all that fun stuff. And then we're going to have some more recorded content as well, some evergreen stuff. So that is the reason for the little pivot. And we're just trying to use our time a little bit more efficiently and effectively since we are Uno Man show here. Let's see. Who do we have in the chat before we really get cooking here? I see Sneeps is here. Yeah, this is good. I like people showing their membership, right? So Boston-based member for 21 months. Sneeps is here. We got Maddie Harrison, a member for 28 months. Also, I like that this is not just NBA players who are in the best shape of their life heading into a new season, right? We get all of those pieces that come out that are like, actually, he's never been healthier. Maddie Harrison took that same energy to the offseason, added 10 pounds of muscle this offseason. You'll love to see it. We got the con man here with his happy birthday to Johnny Collins. We got Patrick Coyne, 35 months while taking the cake. But welcome back, everybody. I hope you guys, listen, I've seen you, but welcome back to, the OG show, the OG's show. We got Reese Davies in the chat. But this is the plan for this week. So today we're going to look at the Western Conference. We're going to start with the Pacific Division today. Then we'll do Northwest or whatever they call it on Wednesday, and then Southwest. I don't know what I'm forgetting, but we're going to do all 3. We'll break it up Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then next week we'll do the Eastern Conference. And then after that, we're like 2 weeks away from the start of the NBA season because we are officially under 1 month before tip-off, which is very good news. Very good news. Stan Love said stop streaming on playback because he got only colds. Yeah, I wanted to take that power away from the chat, so you can't tell me if I'm hot or cold. Shout out Katy Perry. But we're still going to be doing some stuff on playback, but we tested out the NBA bit doing it there, and I think it just makes more sense on YouTube, mainly so we can just fire up drops like whenever we're ready. And as Sneeps had called for it early, we're not talking about the OKC Thunder today, but we can start with a little Dort report. Look at what we have here, too. Lairdinho himself, Andrew Laird, who we might have to be doing some content together a little later. Everybody shared their membership. Andrew Laird was like, why not me? Why not us? And so he's a member now. We love to see it. We love to see it. A couple other things let's to get out of the way at the top here. Holy crap, gifted 10 memberships, Boston base. Wow, wow, wow. It really is it's a new season, the season of giving. Couple of things just to plug here before we get into the Western Conference and the Pacific Division. If you missed it, I was on the NBA Athletic Show last Monday night, I believe it came on, so a week ago today. So go check that out if you haven't done it. I'll have that pinned in the show notes after the show. But I was able to talk with Dave Dufour about all of the offseason moves and all that fun stuff. So that was a pretty good time. That was a cool moment. So we got that. I have another show announcement that I think I'm going to be able to officially announce at the end of the week. Some of you might already know about it, but I'm really excited about that. Heading into the season, we've got a fun partnership with SORARE that we'll get some more information on soon. We've got the in-season tournament. We're going to the finals for that again. Also, that just reminded me I didn't respond to Patrick Coyne's DM over the weekend. So a lot of fun stuff heading into a new year, and I'm excited. And I'm excited you guys are here. Bauderbine's here too. Love to see that. All right, let's get into, last but not least, if you haven't liked the stream yet, if you haven't subscribed yet, go do that. Go follow us go subscribe to the podcast, do all of that stuff. Make our hearts warm. Hearts warm. All right, let's do it. We're going to do the Western Conference Pacific Division. We'll go team by team, look at some key additions, some key L's, and then we'll go from there. But again, if you are watching live, this is very interactive, so need your thoughts on all this stuff. And if you were watching after the fact, this is, you should be watching live. Gilbert's in the chat. Let's go. All right, so we are going to get started. Let me adjust my screen here. I forget which one I was going to do. I think it's going to be this one. You can see we're going to go 3 times a week, which means graphics, baby. We're going to have some graphics today. So let's start with the Los Angeles Lakers, okay? We've got key additions for the Lakers. It's funny. We've talked so much this offseason about all of the different moves, right? Everybody going to new places, old faces in new places, right? We like to say that. I was stunned to see how little movement, once again, Rob Pelinka and the Los Angeles Lakers did this offseason. They didn't really lose anybody. They had some re-signings, right? So they got, I believe, Spencer Dinwiddie's return, Max Christie they re-signed in the offseason. But the real additions, this is it. And one of them is a coach. So they drafted a guy in Dalton Connect. They just signed Christian Coloco. And I don't know, I might have been stretching a little bit to call it key additions here to include Christian Coloco. And then JJ Redick. Those are the only moves, really, the Lakers made this offseason. Their biggest move was not making a move. And so looking at the Lakers' odds for this season, right? 43.5 wins. That's what they are lined up at. And something I want you to pay attention to as we go through the division are the odds for them to win it all. Yeah, Bronny Erasure. Excuse me. Bronny James will also be there with the Los Angeles Lakers, which we had been saying this for a while. But I believe Zach Lowe and Bill Simmons were talking about it last week about how, I think it was Zach Lowe that said Bronny James most likely comes in, plays 3 minutes in the first game, hangs out with LeBron for a second, and then makes his way. Where's the G League affiliate? Well, he makes his way to the G League to get better. Not that he doesn't belong there. I just think they'll probably get him more reps in the G League than the NBA. Boston Base with a question. Who exits the NBA first? Is it LeBron or Bronny? It's going to be LeBron. Listen, I know where we like to dunk on the whole Bronny thing, nepotism, baby. I've made my case. I'm pro nepotism. Even though I don't think I've benefited of it, I'm able to open my mind to know that I'm still pro Nepo. I am Nepo King. I still think Bronny belongs in the NBA. It's going to take him a little while, but listen, there are a lot of players that, aren't superstars that are in the NBA. I think Bronny's going to be one of them. But back to the Lakers odds, right? So 43.5 wins is their projected over-under line. So they are plus 3,000 to win the NBA Finals. And we're going to see some other teams that have worse odds or similar odds. And you're going to be like, what? Plus 3,000. Plus 1,400 to win the West, and plus 425 to win the Pacific. So for those that don't know, you put $100 down, you get 3,000 if they win the NBA Finals, 1,400 if they win the West, and 425 if they win the Pacific. I think those are all pretty bad bets. I think those are all super, super bad bets. And Dave Dufour mentioned this in the Athletic NBA pod that we did, where he was like, I think the Lakers got better, and I don't even know if they got better or if they got worse, but I just don't think they matter. Sorry, Dustin Sandoval. I just don't think they matter because, I know maybe we got wooed a little bit from what we saw in the Olympics, right? With LeBron still being like one of the best players in the world, Anthony Davis being like a real contributing guy for a team that won the gold medal. And you're like, well, if you got two of those guys on one team, that means they got to be good, right? And I don't think so. I don't think that's true. And I think there is some hope that somebody like JJ Redick coming in, even though he has no coaching experience, still is like an offensive minded guy, is going to unlock Austin Reeves again, right? Because we saw some ceiling from Austin Reeves, and then Darvin Ham kind of put the kibosh on that and didn't really use him a ton last season. I mean, they still have D'Angelo Russell. Badavine, I don't have this in front of me, Badavine, so maybe you have access to it. But he said, "What are the odds of both LA teams to miss the playoffs?" Yeah, we'll talk about the Clippers here in a second. But so maybe like, Austin Reeves, you get a bounce back year from, and maybe the addition of JJ Redick, or more likely the subtraction of Darvin Ham, just brings the energy up with the Lakers. But D'Angelo Russell is back, and D'Angelo Russell has proudly picked up the lantern that John Collins, happy birthday, John Collins, that John Collins held for 5 years, where he was in trade rumors for 5 consecutive years. And that's what's happened to D'Angelo Russell right now, right? Because if the Lakers get off to a good start, right? Say they start off something like 14-5 in their first 19 games. I don't know why I chose 19 instead of 20, but say they start off 14-5 in their first 19 games. There's going to be like, wow, maybe the Lakers are legit. Maybe they have a shot, and maybe they move D'Lo to upgrade to that one missing piece that they're looking for, right? That's going to be a conversation. If they start up the opposite, 5-14, they're going to be like, wow, they really need to move off D'Lo to get another piece. So, like, regardless of the situation that the Lakers are in, D'Angelo Russell has a tradable contract, and he is going to be in rumors throughout the entire season. And it's already started, right? The Portland Trailblazers, we know, are going to be doing some form of a fire sale soon. And Jeremy Grant's already been rumored to the Lakers. Who knows? Anthony Simon, could be anybody. But I just don't really see. I don't really see the upside in the Lakers this season. I don't see it. I mean, I think like their best case scenario, they're a 7 seed, and then they do the same thing they've done the last couple of years, right? So Super Carl in the chat said, it's what you said on The Athletic. AD's never played 76 games before last season. What are the odds of him doing it back to back? Yeah, I mean, it depends, right? If you're glass half full or glass half empty, and clearly I took the glass half empty approach, but maybe you're like, hey, he's changed his body, right? Because AD had that run where he really bulked up. And then I think it was Simmons who just kept saying, like, maybe he's gotten too big and now it's like too much pressure on them joints and them muscles. And then we saw some more injuries from Anthony Davis. And now he's slimmed down a little bit. He's not playing the 5 as much, so maybe he's not banging around as much. But yeah, again, betting on Anthony Davis to go back-to-back seasons of playing 70-plus games. Also, this season played all off season, right? I mean, like he's only had a month off because he was playing right through the Olympics. So it's not like he had a real off season either. So yeah, I don't know. I don't see a ton of the upside on the Lakers this season. And I just feel like it's going to be chaotic. Although I don't know, maybe universally people have brought down their expectations of the Lakers, and it won't feel the same. But I don't really think they're going to be in the conversation outside of like what ESPN typically does. We got What You Dad in the chat. Says GM, yeah, Lakers have so many meh players, it's hard to get excited. Yeah, and I mean, I think like, it's too bad because of how LeBron is still playing at this age, and really what like Anthony Davis has done. You think if they made any real meaningful moves to, boost up the supporting cast, and I don't even know what the moves would be, but if they did, you could see this team competing a little bit, maybe not being title favorites or anything, but if they had one more guy that was like a meaningful guy and not just a role player, I think they'd be a little bit more in the conversation. But they literally have to run pure just like they did last season, right? Anthony Davis and LeBron both played. I think LeBron was like 68 plus and AD was 70 plus, something like that, right? They both have to. That's what they did last year. They need to do that again this year, but also have their role players be better. So I'm not seeing it. I think that's enough on the Lakers, right? I think we did it. Yeah, Man said Christian Wood upside. I'm a pass on the Christian Wood upside. I have fallen for that fun too many times. Although now that I'm officially off the boat, maybe Wood shows up. Maybe we get that good Wood. All right, let's go to the other LA team and look at the font change from gold to blue. We get the Clips. So I guess like the key additions, this is bad, right? This is bad that this is the key additions for the Clips, right? You see, we got Kevin Porter Jr., we've got Chris Dunn, and then we've got Derek Jones Jr. And if we're going to talk about all of these juniors, especially with one of them being the Porters, we're back on StreamYard, not on playback. You know what we about to do.
We're the Porters. We share the crowd of up and down performers, throwing things and buzz or beater corners. And one of us is playing for the Warriors. We're juniors and we're the Porters.
Now, you should also note that like Nick Batum he re-signed, right? So they still like brought some guys back, but it's not really an addition. And then of course, Paul George leaving and heading to the Philadelphia 76ers. I actually messed this part up of the graphic, so I apologize. Listen, first day jitters. I believe that's actually at 38.5 wins, not 43.5. That was left there from the Lakers. You'll see I've done that twice in these 5 graphics. 38.5, I believe, plus 8,000 to win it all, plus 3,500 to win the West, and plus 850 to win the Pacific. What I found pretty funny about this just shows you that Vegas, like that the public bets on the Lakers, right? Because the Clippers are plus 8,000 and the Lakers are plus 3,000. And I think the Lakers are maybe like 1 or 2 games better than the Clippers, but for whatever reason, there's a plus 5,000 difference because nobody's betting on the Clips. Yeah, I mean, the same conversation we had for Anthony Davis and LeBron playing all of those games, we're right back there with the Clippers. Like I know like Kawhi got hurt in the playoffs and he didn't play in the Olympics, but he did play most of the games this season. And to see him, like they're really betting on him doing that again in a team that doesn't have the same upside of what we saw last year, right? Because they're starting 5. I mean, what is it? Their starting 5 is probably Terrence Mann, it's probably James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Nick Batum, and we bought a Zubac. Shout out to Zubac, he got paid. I'm like, it's funny because from a fantasy perspective, I like James Harden. I actually like KPJ. I'll sign up for Kawhi. I'll sign up for Zubac. Those all make sense to me, but I just don't see this team winning a ton of games. I really don't. And the real scary thing for the Clippers, and if the consigliere is watching this on replay later, I apologize. But the scary thing for the Clippers is that they do not have their first round pick still. This is still stemming back from the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander trade from what was that, like 5 years ago now, that where they acquired Paul George, where they got the OKC got SGA and then like 4,000 picks. And one of them has turned into Jalen Williams already. And as we go through the Western Conference, I mean, yes, there is the Trailblazers and the Rockets are not going to be very good. The Jazz are, of course, are going to tank once it gets to February. You look at the Eastern Conference, you still have the Hornets, you still have the Pistons and all that stuff, right? So I don't think the Clippers are going to be like a first overall type pick that's going to go to OKC, but it's going to be a lottery pick for sure. And we know that they've flattened out the draft odds, right? The lottery odds. So they are going to have a chance at like a legit pick. And I think that's the case. I think that's true even if Kawhi and James Harden are healthy, right? But if Kawhi all of a sudden misses 25 games like he does most seasons, or if Harden pulls a hammy, all of a sudden the Clippers are like way out. So I don't know. Let's see what the chat. Manning, you're right. I did forget about Derek Jones Jr. He could absolutely start over Batum. I think that's right. I could also see them getting weird and having him start like almost having them start over Terrence Mann, depending on how Mann does. So I can see that. Wade Ed saying I can easily see Harden paying a first round price with this roster. I can also see a scenario where they full tank by January. Yeah. And Manny says if Kawhi is healthy in the playoffs, they could be a dark horse. Zoo is the best Jokic defender. Listen, I love Zoo. I'm a fan of Zoo. But we were talking about the Lakers having to run pure with health. I mean, the Clippers to the nth degree, right? They have to run pure. They can't. And you're saying that you can see them being in full tank by January. That's the thing. They can't tank. There's no protection on this pick. They can't tank. So they have to keep trying. And that's, I would be scared if I'm a Clippers fan. I could see a scenario like I think their ceiling is like an 8 seed. There's no way they're not in a playing game. And listen, I love Ty Lue. I know Kawhi is a dog, but I just don't see a scenario where they are. I mean, we're going to go through so many Western Conference teams, but like in a world that the Clippers make it to the 6 seed, I just think you're on cocaine if you're thinking about that, right? We already like just to rattle them off quickly. we've got the Nuggets, who I know people are a little down on, but not down like they're going to be an 8 seed. You get the Minnesota Timberwolves ascending, the Dallas Mavericks, of course. Who else am I missing in that 4 seed, right? Well, I feel like I'm missing another top tier team. Oh, the OKC Thunder, who are clearly going to be the number 1 seed this year. You got Memphis Grizzlies coming back and healthy. Pelicans are weird, but they're still there. We're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns next. Like, there's just too many teams. And I think it's going to be pretty bunched up, and I'm just not banking on them. I think Super Carl saying they may be no incentive for the team to tank, but Kawhi cares about longevity. I mean, he is long. This is longevity. Bottom line says, you think Harden can get back to 20 plus points a game? Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially if Kawhi misses time, we're going to see like old man 40 plus YMCA James Harden, or like Houston Rockets James Harden, where he's going to be doing a lot of the offense. But I mean, somebody has to score over 20 points a game. That's the other thing, right? Who's scoring on this team? It's not like Derrick Jones Jr. is a volume shooter. Terrence Mann is like very streaky from 3 and is really out there for his defense. Nick Batum, same thing, right? He's more of like a glue guy. And Zubac, like, listen, I love Zubac, but Lou doesn't play him more than 30 minutes, regardless of how many guys they have. You got Norm Powell coming off the bench, but like he's, somebody has to score over 20. So I imagine it's Kawhi, and I could see Harden doing like a 20-12 type season, which again is why I'm all in on the fantasy side of things. But for actual good basketball, winning basketball games, the big old thumbs down. Let's check in with Chuck Norris. Thumbs down. Was that a dodgeball reference? I'm not even sure of the reference. Let's do a drop since we're here, right? Should we get a drop? Maybe we'll do we haven't done a mental health check in a while. Let's get a mental health check going, and then we'll pop back in for some sweet Phoenix Suns action. We can't go down this road. We can't talk about like how you need to have had sex in order to have responsibility. I just think it changes you, I think it changes you. Man, we've aged. We're like a grizzled vet. Looking at some of those old drops, we are an old man now. Old man, way more gray in the beard, wrinkles in the face. That's all right, though. That's all right. We're into it. All right, let's do some Phoenix Suns here for our guy, Coach Stark Holmes. Says, can't wait to see how my Suns are this season. Much better roster. Let's look at these graphics real quick, okay? Because you can tell I started to get deeper in the bag as we moved on. Bang! Look at that. We put a little glow on, did some colors for the team. So here we go. Here's some key additions for the Phoenix Suns. They moved off Frankie Vogues and got Coach Budenholzer. I will say the weird discourse I've found this offseason about the upgrade in coach from Vogel to Coach Bud. When did we decide Frank Vogel is a bad coach? Right? Like, he won the chip with the Lakers, and then the Lakers completely revamped their roster and then blamed Vogel for it, and he got fired. And then, like, maybe he lost the locker room. I don't know. But there's a lot of talk about how this is a huge upgrade from Vogel to Coach Bud. And I maybe it is, and maybe I'm undervaluing Coach Bud, but we know he's a regular season coach darling, right? He's going to get you a ton of dubs. One thing that will be interesting to monitor is one knock against Coach Bud in both the regular season and the playoffs. Yeah, shout out to PayPal, the jersey sponsor, and Will Ferrell. But one of the interesting things about Coach Bud when he was coaching the Milwaukee Bucks is he his guys wouldn't play over 34 or 35 minutes. So like Giannis, the whole regular season, he'd lock him in around like 32 to 34, would do the same thing with Chris Middleton, the same thing with Drew Holiday when he was there. He really would not stretch the minutes for those guys. And I'll be curious if he takes that same approach, which I actually think would be better for Phoenix's longevity. I maybe down on their regular season wins, but I don't know. But I wonder if he monitors KD's minutes a little bit, Book's minutes a little bit, and even Bradley Beal for that matter. So let's look at some of the key additions. So they brought in Tyus Jones on what ended up being vet minimum, which I mean is a straight up coup d'etat for you French folks, for them to get Tyus Jones at that price point, because Tyus Jones, I think, is like a mid-level starting point guard, but like an elite backup point guard. So Tyus Jones has been told he's going to start. Let me throw that out there. We'll revisit that in a second. They also added Plumdog Millionaire from the Clippers as their backup big, which I do think is an upgrade from Drew Eubanks. Shout out Top Shot. And then they also added Monty Morris. So they got two really good ball handling guards who like take care of the ball too. I mean, Tyus Jones and Monty Morris have like some of the best assist to turnover ratio rates like in the history of the game. So to add both of those guys, which is like clearly something they needed, I think that alleviates some of the pressure off of Devin Booker, who is doing a lot of the offensive facilitation last season, which I still think he's going to play on ball quite a bit, but at least they have the option to get him off ball, take some pressure off him. I think that's good. It also allows Book to play a little bit more defense, which we saw him turn into a defensive dog in the Olympics. I mentioned they lost Drew Eubanks. Eric Gordon also left Phoenix and headed to Philadelphia as well. But they did retain the rights of our guy, Bobo.
Bobo?
Bobo.
His first name is Bull and his last name is Bull?
No,
Look
yeah.
at his legs!
Long legs.
Oh my God! I bet his legs are taller than my whole body. I'm leaving you for Bobo. Like,
yeah, and I agree with Coach Stark Holmes here in the chat who says getting Book off the ball will be huge. I agree. Let's look at some of the odds here. Also, if you're just joining, welcome. Do me a favor, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, baby. We're back. The Suns odds, 47.5 wins. The over-under is set. They have the same odds to win the title as the Los Angeles Lakers. In what cocaine-fueled world? What? They, by far, I mean, I'm sorry. That's just a Lakers tax. But plus 3,000 to win it all, plus 1,500 to win the West. I actually think that's like a sneaky fun bet. And then plus 215 to win the Pacific Division, which I actually think is really good odds because I mean, outside of injuries, I feel like they are way like by far the best team in this division. Also, yeah, who we got? I think I'm in the wrong place. What are these fancy graphics? Welcome back, TST. New season, new us, baby. We even rebranded the channel. I don't know if you guys even noticed that. Mike Zakarian's NBA bit from here on out, just because it's easier to market than hashtag team hold. But back to the Suns. So I think Tyus Jones, massive ad. I think it's huge for Booker's efficiency and just like overall health that he doesn't have to do everything on the floor. A couple of concerns I have there. Like, I know they added Jones and Morris and Plumdog Millionaire. They are going to be relying a lot on guys like Royce O'Neal, who they paid, I think, 4 years, $44 million. Grayson Allen, who, again, coming off one, I think he was the best three-point shooter in the league last season. So there's a lot of pressure on those guys. Like at the wing position, I think we're going to see too much Josh Okogie again. But my biggest concern with the Suns heading into this season is how, like, if their starting five is this: Yusuf Nurkic at the 5, KD at the 4, Bradley Beal at the 3, Devin Booker at the 2, and Tyus Jones at the 1. I don't know how they defend anyone with those 5. And like, there's going to be some discourse. Well, maybe Bradley Beal's going to come off he's not going to come off the bench. You can't pay a guy $50 million to come off the bench. And like, they kind of need someone to defend, right? Like, so say they match up against the Celtics. I mean, they put KD on Tatum and then they put who on Jaylen Brown. You know, like I just don't like Bradley Beal covering a lot of those guys, those wings. I think is going to be a lot of problem. They say Nurkic is working on that 3, another Brook Lopez situation. Yeah, I mean, Coach Bud famously made Brolo a 3-point shooter. I'm not banking on Nurk dropping triples on the reg, but hey, if it forces someone to come out and defend him, I don't think that's a bad thing. But yeah, that's my biggest concern for Phoenix is just who they're going to defend. Manny says, I wonder if Ryan Dunn, that's the rookie, gets into the rotation. Yeah, I'm sure they try a bunch of stuff. This seems way more negative. And I guess like my negativity comes from Phoenix Suns as a legit contender. I think Phoenix is probably a 50-win team. I think I like the over on that. I think I like them to win the Pacific Division. I think they are going to be a tough out in the playoffs. Like I think they are a more formidable opponent than they were this past season in the playoffs. As they got swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves in the first round. Like I could see them making a second round run, but I don't know how much upside they really have unless, listen, if Booker is able to bring that defensive tenacity that we saw from the Olympics, to his regular game, then maybe I have to adjust my ranks on that. But we'll have to wait and see. But so I think ultimately, I feel like I was too negative. Ultimately, I think the Suns had a great offseason. I just think the West is so good, and maybe it's just because of what OKC has done. Is Tesla said, is KD just being underutilized as a secondary option? Yeah, I don't know, though. I don't know if he will be a secondary option. I mean, if you look at KD's numbers this past year, like I think we've just gotten so used to how good he's been that we think he was in a like off year, right? He last season he averaged, let me see, I got this pulled up. Oh no, that's his projections, excuse me. God, basketball reference someday. Somebody invest in basketball reference. So last season, right, he averaged 27 points. He averaged 27 points last year. 27, 6 and 5, it looks like. Like, that's pretty good. That's pretty good from KD. So I don't know how much more you utilize him. I mean, I get what you're saying, where like because the ball was in Booker's hands. I don't know. Maybe the offense flows through him a little bit more with the addition of Tyus Jones. We'll kind of have to wait and see. But I'm pro Suns this year in the regular season. I just don't know about the upside for the regular season. But at plus 215 to win the Pacific, that's maybe my favorite bet that we've seen so far. I mean, that's not huge, right? That's like 100 to win 215. But oh, I see what you're saying. That's what I mean. Do you think he takes a step back this year? Oh, maybe Tesla. Yeah. Yeah, like we could see him drop down to like 23 to 24. I actually think that would be good for the Suns. Like I think him taking a step back, because if the minutes thing is true, that Coach Bud like scales him back a little bit and they're able to win games without him having to take like 20 shots a game, I think ultimately that's good for the health of the team and the longevity of the team. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. All right, we got 2 squads left. I think are we lighting the beam here next? I think we got a beam lighting. Yeah, let's head over to Sacktown, baby. This was the other one I screwed up on the wins. Obviously, I left the same thing as the Suns. Their win total, I believe, is 43.5. I believe they're at 43.5 or 40. That actually might be too low. No, they're higher than that. Maybe it's 46.5. It's 46.5. Anyway, so the Kings key additions. Lighten the beam. They added, also look at that purple glow, baby. That purple glow. They added DeMar DeRozan from the Chicago Bulls. They only lost 2 players, really. Sasha Vezenkov and Davion Mitchell were both traded to Toronto, and then Vezenkov, I believe, signed with the Greek team. I believe is it a Greek team? But both Vezenkov is gone. Davion's still with the Raps. The odds here plus 7,500 to win the championship. Again, worse odds than the Lakers. Almost the same odds as the Clippers. Plus 2,500 to win the West and plus 280 to win the Pacific. And again, referencing the Athletic NBA show that we did last week with Dave Dufour, I think my bigger concern with the Kings is, like, I think DeMar DeRozan overall value add. I think that is good for Sacramento. I'm fascinated to see how they are going to play from the first quarter to halfway through the fourth quarter. I do think when it gets down to crunch time, having guys like DeRozan and Fox, who, like, I think back-to-back clutch play. No, DeRozan should have won clutch player of the year, I believe, but didn't. But anyways, 2 of like the best quote unquote clutch players, according to whatever that clutch stat is, are DeRozan and Fox. So they are able to get almost whatever bucket they want. And we know DeRozan can just hit tough shots, right? I think that's ultimately good that he's there. I'm fascinated to see how they play, like minute 1 of the first quarter to the halfway through the fourth quarter, because historically speaking, with this core group of the Sacramento Kings, they play like on speed, right? They're just flying around. They got guys like Fox, Malik Monk. I know Sabonis, we don't think of his speed, but they play through him at the elbow. Everybody's moving around. You got Keegan Murray now, who's heading into year 3, who we've seen some flashes from Keegan Murray as being like this lights out 3-point shooter. And if that continues, I think that does change the ceiling of the Kings. However, Fox is like a fine 3-point shooter. Maybe we see him chuck more now. But with Sabonis and DeRozan are both guys that have to play within the 3-point line. Because I'm sorry, like maybe people are going to be like, well, maybe DeRozan takes a step back and he's working on his 3-point game. I think at this point, DeRozan is who he is. I don't think if he was going to evolve and add that 3-point shot, we probably would have seen it happen somewhere between the Spurs and the Bulls run. And that just hasn't happened. So I don't expect it to happen all of a sudden now in like year 12 of DeMar DeRozan. So I think that's my biggest concern is just like, are they able to still play with the same pace without having the same sort of spacing that they've had in the past. So we'll have to wait and see what kind of three-point shooting they get from. I mean, they know Malik Monk's going to chuck. Keegan Murray, again, will continue to chuck, but I don't really know how they operate with Sabonis and DeRozan on the floor together. Now, yeah, hashtag Kangs. Look at jump shoot in the chat. Let's go, baby. The return of jump shooting. I don't know. I don't even know where I would land on any of these. I guess plus 280 to win the Pacific is kind of fun. So we saw 2 years ago, we see the Kings rise to the 2 seed. A lot of injuries around the rest of the Western Conference. They had like the healthiest run in basketball history where their starting five almost played every game. Last season, we saw Sabonis play injured most of the year, or maybe that was 2 seasons ago. But Fox missed quite a bit of time with an injury, right? And they just did not run as pure as they did the year before. I think it's hard for me to see, it's hard for me to take the over on this team. I'll be honest. I don't think I'm as high. I feel like they've got a high range of outcomes. Like the variance could be a ton. I could see them, if the offense works and the 3-point shot is falling and the DeRozan fit is seamless, I can see that happening. I can see them just losing a lot of games in the West. I think they are firmly ahead of both Los Angeles teams that we've talked about. Like I obviously like them more than both of those squads. I do think Phoenix Suns finishes with more W's than them. And again, I mean, Phoenix, OKC, Minnesota, Denver, Dallas, that's 5 teams already that I would put them ahead of. Maybe they're in the 6th seed, but we also have all of those. We're going to talk about the Warriors next. You still have the Pellies. There's a lot of room. There's a lot of room for weird. Baudivine in the chat, let's go, said, I heard DeRozan talk about the vibes being good on Windhorse Pod. So there's that. I mean, yes, he did say that, but it also would be crazy if he came on and said the vibes are actually bad, So I'm glad he said what he said, but I don't know how much truth. And I'm sure the vibes are good. People they like playing for Coach Mike Brown. Fox, people seem to like swipe a Fox. And maybe I'm being too hard on him. I think I look at that roster and I look at the rest of the West and I just don't know where the upside is. One other little caveat on Sacramento. I don't know if people saw this. I didn't see the full interview, so maybe it was aggregated a little bit. But the NBA Central account tweeted out a clip from Vlade Divac talking about that time will tell if the Marvin Bagley over Luka Doncic trade or pick was right or wrong. Said time will tell. Still don't know yet. And his biggest argument, he was like, can't take Luka. We already have De'Aaron Fox, which is kind of hilarious as we watch Luka play next to Kyrie and they went to the finals. But shout out Vlade for just drinking his own Gatorade there and believing in himself, betting on himself, even though we have quite a bit of time now to know that it is not true. That was a bad move. Marvin Bagley, who I believe is like the 4th big man on the Washington Wizards heading into this year. Tesla said DeRozan's new book is a good step to furthering the mental health conversation. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out DDR. I know that was a lot of negativity. I like DeRozan. I'm curious about this fit. We got one Western Conference team left in the Pacific Division to talk about, and that is them Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green, baby. Oh, I did a bad job lining this up. That's okay. Baby steps on the graphics. So key additions, Buddy Hield, D'Anthony Melton, and slow-mo from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously, they lost to Splash Bro, Klay Thompson, who headed over to the Dallas Mavericks. And then let's look at their odds here. They are still at 43.5 wins. They are plus 3,500 to win it all. They are plus 1,700 to win the West and plus 350 to win the Pacific. And I think I am on an island here. And again, I apologize for referencing the Athletic NBA show again, but you know what? That was a pretty cool thing for me, so I'm going to reference it again. But we were talking about the Golden State Warriors, and Dave was mentioning that they upgraded a lot. And I think that is the consensus, that the Golden State Warriors have gotten a lot better. And listen, maybe that is true, but they added D'Anthony Melton, who played a quarter of the NBA season last year. They added Kyle Anderson, who I do think is a good piece on a winning team. I think he's like a nice 7th or 8th guy, good glue guy. I think he'll make sense with the Golden State Warriors. I actually think that's probably the best addition of those 3. But then they added Buddy Hield, and everybody will show, well, look at Buddy Hield's 3-point field goal percentage compared to what Klay did. And Yeah, that might be true. But or did we all get brainwashed? Like, did we not watch the Philadelphia 76ers play the New York Knicks in the first round of the playoffs? Or just like Buddy Hield's addition to the Sixers at the trade deadline when he moved from the Pacers to the Sixers. And you can say, hey, maybe it's hard to adjust midseason. We've heard Doc Rivers has talked about that. It's the hardest thing to do in the world. But Buddy Hield started in the starting lineup, then moved to the bench. And then like he had one game in the playoffs where he played like more than 15 minutes. Like he was pretty much doing nothing out there. And if he's not knocking down 3-pointers, then I don't know what you're using him for. And I just think I just don't buy that this was like a huge addition for the Warriors. And I think the Clay hate has gone a little bit too far too. Listen, Clay can't guard anyone. He's not staying in front of anyone, and he's not getting by anyone. But as shooting triples, I think I'm still taking Clay over Buddy Hield. And I know we're still thinking about the playoffs. And maybe I'm not being fair because I'm using Buddy's playoff history from last season, but I'm not using Clay's. And Clay was very bad in the playoffs. I think ultimately it made sense for Clay to leave. I think it's good both for the Warriors and for the Mavericks and for Clay. Like I think win-win-win, as Steve Carell would say in The Office. But I think that is good. We got hold on. Tesla said seriously they needed shooting like crazy and Hield was awful. Yeah, and listen, small sample size. Maybe Buddy Hield comes out and pops off. Stan said the Warriors better odds than Memphis, Pelicans, Kings, Magic, Pacers, Heat, Cavs is stupid. I'm gonna change the word for you, stupid. Yeah, I agree. I think this is like the same reason the Lakers are plus 3,000. This is just people who are bad at betting that it's like, I'm going to bet on Steph Curry. I saw what he did in the Olympics. He's going to do it in the NBA, right? That's what was happening there. And then, yeah, what's up? What's up, Daniel Pedro? Welcome, baby. But yeah, so I'm not buying the Warriors, man. And I like there's weird energy with Kuminga too. Like he hasn't been re-signed. He wants a max deal. It's hard to give a guy a max deal when Steve Kerr doesn't play him regularly. Andrew Wiggins has been just kind of anomaly since that one season where he was like their second best player as they went on to win the title. He has kind of been MIA both on the court and off the court since then. So they're relying a lot on him being good. They're relying a lot on Jonathan Kuminga not only being good, but the vibes being good. We've already been like injected with hopium this entire offseason on Brandon Pajemski and what he's going to turn into year two. And I think he did have a pretty impressive year one for what they expected, where they drafted him and what he actually produced on the court. I think you're going to be very thrilled with that. But to say he's going to go from taking 3 3-pointers a game to 8 to 12 3-pointers a game or whatever the number was in that athletic piece that came out during this offseason, that is putting a lot of stress and pressure on a year two guy who's playing next to Steph Curry and Draymond Green. You also have the bigs like Kevon Looney, who's kind of played off the court, but is now going to be playing a little bit more. They got Trace Jackson Davis, who I think is like a nice piece, but he'd be a nice piece if he was on the Utah Jazz. I know, and they're just still trying to figure things out, but they're trying to win right now. Tesla says we'll see how Wiggins responds to his father's passing. Seems like he was carrying a lot of that for the past few years. Yeah, maybe. I know there's that weird conversation about the relief in someone's passing when they've been sick for a while, and maybe that will feel like a weight that has been lifted for Wiggs. And maybe I'll root for Wiggs. I think I don't like him being a punching bag. I've always kind of rooted for Wiggs, even though he hasn't really responded to it. That's why that finals run, even though I was a Celtics fan, it's kind of fun to see him performing in the way that he was. But it's like hurt more seeing him then fall back to what he was doing before. So we'll have to wait and see with the Warriors. I'm not as high on them. I kind of feel like this entire division is like a little mid. You know what I'm saying? Like I think I would take the Suns as the best team. And then I would like flip a coin between the Kings and the Warriors. I'd have a lean for Kings over Warriors. And then I think it's like Lakers and Clippers under there, but one of these teams doesn't make the play-in, right? I think that's my take. I think my take is one of these teams won't even make the play-in, because they all made it last year, right? The Clippers were the 4 seed, Lakers were the 7 seed, Warriors were in the play-in, right? And then Kings missed the play-in. Excuse me, right? Oh no, they were in the play-in and then lost to the Pelicans. And then I'm blank. I'm doing a bad job. And then the Warriors. So I feel like 2 of these, right? I don't know. I guess it depends on what Houston does, what New Orleans does, and what Memphis does this season. That will be kind of the linchpin of all of it. But I don't know. There's just been a lot of positive energy around the Warriors. And I mean, if they felt so good about this roster additions, why were they were like so aggressively trying to get Lowry marketed, which ended up falling through because they didn't want to put Podziemski on the table. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, they still have a couple of moves because they like Moses Moody has been on the trade block like off and on for a while now. And I'm pro Moody. I would love to see Moody get moved. I would like to see him actually get some run. I think he's a great baller, underutilized guy. I feel like he would make sense on some teams. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I think I would rank this division: Phoenix, Golden State Kings right next to them, Clippers and Lakers towards the bottom. But not a lot. I think the Suns are the only team that really provide upside. And Stan's asking, will they pay Kuminga? I don't think they'll pay him a max. I think that's, and maybe Weisberg, when he catches up on the stream later in the day, will have some thoughts that he can drop in the Discord about what they do with Kuminga, because I know he's a little bit more plugged into the Bay Area. But I just, if they haven't paid him yet, that means they don't want to pay him the max, and they're trying to negotiate aggressively. They've put him on the trade block. So not only have they not paid him, they've also talked about trading him. And Kuminga already seems like the vibes are weird with that squad. And so I can only imagine heading into this season that it'll be a little feisty. And I mentioned the Lakers, like their first 20 games being important. I feel like that's true for the Warriors too. I think the noise will get a little bit louder if they get off to a slow start. Yeah, Kuminga get a max. I agree. I don't think he should get a max. You know what's crazy though, Wade? When he's been given opportunity, Kuminga has played really well, but Steve Kerr and the Warriors have almost like gone out of their way to make sure he doesn't get paid because they would just stop using him. Right when Wiggins missed that extended time, Kuminga played really good basketball for them. I don't think he should be getting a max, of course not, but he should be getting extended. He should be getting paid. But I think I just don't even think we've seen the ceiling of Kuminga because we haven't even had a chance to see it. I don't know if he actually said he wanted max money. Now that I'm saying that out loud, I know he wants a big payday, but I don't know if he said max. I'll have to go back and check that. I should have had that. Comment said not getting Lowry will haunt them. Yeah, I mean, well, I kind of wish it happened just because I think Lowry on a different team would be fun. But shout out Lowry. Lowry got paid. He wanted to stay in Utah. Good for him. He seems happy. I'm pro marketing. This show is pro marketing. But there you go. That is the Pacific Division, baby. We did it. Couple other things before we wrap up, but just a reminder. So Wednesday we'll do, I think we're going to do the Northwest on Wednesday, and then whatever the name of the other division is, we'll do on Friday. So if you're just tuning in now, NBA Bit this season, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. I forgot to do, wait, I did the wrong one. There we go. 9 a.m. Oh, and now I got to change the background. God, this is so embarrassing. But I mean, I'm excited for the schedule change, mainly because as you can see, like some of the stuff we've been doing on the fantasy side of things has evolved a little bit and has been, there's been a little bit more production value. I just wanted to up the production value of all of the stuff. So that's why we've scaled back to 3 days a week. But yeah, make sure you're locked in on that stuff. Bunch of links in the show notes. Let's go look at you guys want to do an underdog pick'em for tonight? By the way, Underdog, I know we normally drop the ad and it's $100, 100% deposit bonus match up to 100. It's up to 1,000 now. Up to 1,000. Oh, Maggers World in the chat said, great to have team hold content weekly. Yeah, we're back, baby. We got a fun, I'm really excited to announce another show that I'm going to be doing. I've got a meeting about it this week, and then I think it's going to go like public about it next week, which is very exciting. It's been cool, guys. I'm not going to lie. I think last season there was, we were throwing a bunch of different shit against the wall, right? We were doing some stuff on playback. We're trying to figure out like the direction moving forward, and it felt a little stale, which is why I moved to playback for a little bit. And then we've got a couple of wins here heading into the start of the season. We got Bleacher Report to share a fart joke. That was huge for us. I don't know if you guys saw that. We tweeted out a fart joke about going from Woj bomb to windbreakers. Shout out Molly Morrison for the assist on that. We've got a partnership deal with SORARE, like a real one, not an affiliate code. We got a real one that's going to be some exciting stuff this year. The Elite Fantasy Hoops channel is off and running right now. We're about to hit 2,500 subs. We're going to be doing all of our live before lock and SORARE content, underdog content over there. So that's exciting. And then we did the Athletic NBA show last week. That was sick. And now we get this other show that's coming out. So I think we're on our way. We're on our way, boys and girls. So if you're in the oversubscribed community, finally getting some paydays here. Dream partnership coming. That's right. Yeah, let's get the boards to buckets, dude. Let's get them over here. Was there one other thing that oh yeah, we're gonna go look at. You guys want to do a pick 'em for tonight? Yeah, if you sign up on underdogfantasy.com using promo code HOLD, HOLD, 100% deposit bonus match up to $1,000. You can see we have some sick promos here left. We're going to have to use those. Let's actually go, before we do that, since we're talking about the NBA on this show, we've got the double dribble over here. That's Underdog NBA Best Ball. The best ball you draft one time. That's it for the season. I'm going on Eric Beimfor's Spike Week channel on Wednesday evening to do a draft and talk a little bit about it. And then the next week he'll come on our channel. But we're up to 30 of these right now. Oh, I thought we were. We're up to 29? I thought we were up to 30. We're up to 29 of these bad boys so far. So we got to pick up the pace here. You can see a lot of Anthony Simons and KPJ, some Devin Vassell, a lot of Khalil Ware, Bilal Coulibaly, and Jaylen Brown. And then a lot of big boys, Mark Williams, Draymond Green, Zion, a lot of fun stuff. So make sure you're getting involved. We get 2 Monday Night Football games tonight. Anybody got a lean on this stuff? Anybody like anything here? I came really close to winning a big one last night. And Kyle Pitts fell down on the 1-yard line. If he rolled into the end zone, we would have hit a big one. That was frustrating. Although we did hit one. The Badge Bros helped us out. We hit one with the Badge Bros. Anybody got a lean on some NFL picks tonight? I kind of like Jamar Chase to have a big old game. What I think we could do here with the Chase. Oh, we can't do it. I wanted to adjust the receiving yards. To boost it up. How about a first half touchdown? Let's do something a little weird. First half touchdown, 1.5x. 1.5x on the first half touchdown. That's a fun one. Also, yeah, 2 Monday Night Football games, by the way. We've got Cincinnati and Washington, I believe is the second game at the normal time, 8:15. Then I think it's 7:30 Buffalo and Jacksonville. I kind of like a bounce back spot for our guy. Let's get some Kirk energy. What's Kirk's receiving yards? 40? Let's do it. Christian Kirk over 40. How do we feel about that? Nothing in the chat. You guys all hoop heads? No football bros in here? No football bros in the chat? So that's 4.5x right there. Let's find another one. That's 4.5x, but if we apply a boost, we only have 6 hours left to do it. That's 20% boost. What's this one? 50% boost. Wow. We got 3 left of those. That's 6x right away. Let's find one more. You know we like to do a 3-legger over here. So we got Chase for a tutty. What's Jaden Daniels' rushing yards? I feel like he's going to run the ball. What's his total rushing yards here? 34. Did I miss that? Did I miss it? It only 50.5. Let's go over. 50.5. That's fun. 13x for that. Is Thurman Thomas still playing? That's good. Wait, hold on. Is Serie A? I have a Serie A. Atlanta will be Atalanta will beat Como. Okay, there we go. EMAC field goals. All right. I don't know who that is. Let's see. Who is he? What's his first name? I don't even know. I got Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins tutty. That's fun though. Is it McKenzie? Kincaid over catches. They threw a couple screens at him, get him involved, and that game was a blow up. Actually, I like that. I like that call. Kincaid, what's his receiving yards here? I mean, what's his receptions don't have a line, huh? Let's just go over let's go over 38.5 total receiving yards. Let's do that because I think this game. All right, Bengals kicker. All right, we're going to do a 5-legger. Wow, that's fun. Bengals kicker. Bengals kicker. Oh, McPherson. All right. Okay. 1.5. You want to go over 1.5 or like kicking points? What did you say? Field goals? Yeah. Let's do it. All right. 40.34. Should I take the chase out with the field goals? Do those correlate well? I got to put this on my phone, I think, because I think it's going to tell me I don't. This would be 14 to win 564 if this hit. Chase tutty. And then we want 2 field goals, huh? I feel like they can both happen. Wow, that's a fun one. Oh, it did it. Okay, hell yeah. Let's do it. All right, I'm dropping the link in the chat if you guys want to follow along, baby. All right, dudes, we're going to call it there. Hey, do me a favor. If you get a chance, do me a favor. Go download, whether it's on Spotify or Apple, make sure you're doing the podcast too. Just download it. Just download it. Get those downloads up. We're going to have a big season this season, guys. I got to tell you, I'm excited about it. I was excited to get back today to the NBA bit. I feel like in my routine, this felt like a sharper show than just rattling off stats today. No other content, I believe, for the rest of the day. Next time you'll see me, we'll have an Elite Fantasy Hoops video dropping either today or tomorrow. NBA Bit will be back on Wednesday, and then we'll be over on the Spike Week channel on Wednesday as well. Appreciate everybody tuning in to the debut. Hope you guys have a great start to the week. See you guys later. We outskis.